One of the biggest challenges in presenting materials is not just rendering them. It's the fact that you have to create a complete, polished image that will showcase the material in the best possible way. So whether it's for your portfolio or for your company's material library, crafting the perfect image can be tricky. If you are the graphic designer in charge of making the final image, you may not have the 3D skills and be dependent of the 3D team to make the renders. This is super frustrating. And even if you are a 3D artist, you still have to juggle between applications from your 3D apps to Photoshop, for example, which is not as streamlined as it could be. What if there was a better solution? In this video, we are going to see a new workflow which is possible thanks to Substance 3D Viewer, which allows you to create a material template directly within Photoshop. And then you can tweak the 3D parts, even if you are not a 3D artist. Let's see that in details now. Okay, so what are we going to cover in this tutorial? The first thing, I'm going to showcase you how it works between Photoshop and Substance 3D Viewer, how a graphic designer or a 3D artist or whoever can tweak the materials from this Photoshop template. This way you will decide if you want to pursue, if it's something that works for you or not, and also to give me feedback. The second step will be something that you can skip if you are not interested in. I will explain how to build these 3D models. Why you can skip it? Because maybe you will receive directly this 3D model from another team, so you may not want to make the same than me. Then we will go into Photoshop Beta to build this small document, this small project that we have here, nothing crazy. And finally, we are going to send the 3D elements to Substance 3D Viewer and see how we can tweak the materials, how we can tweak the lighting, and send it back to Photoshop. So let's start by showcasing the template. As I told you, we are in Photoshop Beta. Here, I'm going to explain you how to download it. Well, actually, I can do it right now. If you open Creative Cloud, it will be in French, but no worries. You go into Applications, Beta, and you have Photoshop Beta here. And at the same time, of course, you can download a Substance 3D Viewer Beta, both required in this workflow. So, how to play with that? As you can see, you can change the name here. It's just a text document. Nothing crazy here, and you have like two other layers. One's for this sphere. This sphere, actually, I took it from another application that we do have, which is Substance 3D Designer, so I won't spend too much time showcasing how to make that, but you can find one without any problem, or make your own in Blender, for example. And I have this material template. I made the 3D scene in Blender in that case. So how it works? Well, if you want to tweak here, I can change the name. Like, for example, here, I'm going to prepare and say I have another color, which is a grid emerald terracotta, like that. So I change the name. If you are a graphic designer or the part in Photoshop Beta, you know how it works. You are way better than me. I put some guides here to help me a bit, to have like 40 pixels on each side. And if I want, what if I want right now to change the look of the material? What I have to do is just double click on the smart object, because these two smart objects are actually 3D objects. Well, at least they are linked to 3D objects. And when I click on them, it opens them in Substance 3D Viewer. Here we are in Substance 3D Viewer. You see that we do have the same image, but here it is a 3D object. First thing first, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to deactivate the ray tracing. The ray tracing is a high fidelity lighting system, which is heavily processing so with the GPU, and as I am recording the video on one side and making this at the same time, if I do both at the same time, my video recording lags. I'm just deactivating, and you can see I can change the lighting. Of course, I'm going to explain afterwards how to do that really quickly. I can even change if I want the angle, no problem. Let's put the lighting on the side like that, and maybe a bit higher, and I can even pick the object, and you see that here I have some elements for my material. I can change the color, for example. So I say emerald. Let's take something like that, for example, and let's say this is the color I want. what I can do, I have my model right now. You see that this part is not changed because this is another 3D object, and right now it is just the background of my image, because when you export the object, it also exports the background image, as you can see here. And the most important, once I have done my tweaking and everything, I can send it back to Photoshop. Let's do it quickly for this part as well. You see now it's updated. I'm going to select this one, send it back to Photoshop. That's where I may have some lagging. So I'm going to deactivate here, and you see that as in the original, here you have some translucency. This is something that is possible with ray tracing. Before to activate ray tracing, what I'm going to do is to quickly change the material as well. I should have saved the color, but we are going to live without that. At the moment, I'm going to try to do something really close in case. Oh, actually, I have the swatch here. I'm going to use the swatch, saved it from before, and I'm going to go to this material, and same thing. I'm going to change what is called the absorption color. I won't get into the details of the material in this video, but there are different properties, how they shine, which color are they transparent or not, etc. I'm just making it right for this scene right now. This is something like that. And what I'm going to do now is activate ray tracing, but I'm going to deactivate my camera. I may make a small montage to give some time, because as I told you, it tends to lag when I do it while recording a video. Let's do this. Let's hide myself here. Bye-bye. Oops, still here. Okay, and let's do that. Okay, this was fast. You don't even have to make a montage. I think it was like 8 seconds. And let's say I'm super satisfied with this. What I'm going to do is just, actually you see that here that I may change the bit because the roughness is like too strong, so sorry. Okay, better in my opinion. Once again, this is something you can tweak, and I'm going to send this to Photoshop, and that's it. This is how it works from final user point of view. You will open this scene, which is a template scene, and you can change you can send the object to Substance 3D Viewer, change the parameters. I can even change the full material if I want, no problem with this. And then you just do what you know in Photoshop to change if you want to add like a gradient. You know how to use Photoshop. That's not the point of this tutorial. So let's see now how to build the 3D models. Once again, the second step is completely skippable. I will give these 3D models in the comments. If you don't want to make the 3D modeling part, that's totally fair. Just download the scene and you won't have any problem. The 3D models. Okay, here we are in Blender for this totally skippable part of the tutorial to showcase how I built one of the elements, which are like the square tiles on the left where I showcase the material. I won't showcase for the sphere because you can find a sphere online. The sphere is kind of the basic object, and once again it's totally skippable. In my case, if you want the exact same sphere, and if you do have Substance 3D Designer, I took one of the objects. If you go let me check here, if I go C programs, you go to Adobe, you go to Substance 3D Designer, resources, view 3D, shapes. You have like this sphere 2 tiles. That's the one I used. It makes the job. I may add it anyway to the links, so you can have it. That will be easier, and there is not much to do here. For this one, once again, I'm going to show quickly. It's not a Blender tutorial. I won't explain the full interface. I'm just going to explain what I'm doing. Here I have this cube. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the material, and as I'm going to repeat it multiple times, and just one will have like the different main materials, I'm just going first to rename this one to translucent material, like that, so it has this name, and then I will change just for one tile. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to enter within the cube to get access to the geometry by doing tab, and I'm going to make sure that I am in face mode, so I can select the face like that. The first thing I'm going to do is to move this one. at the bottom to put it at the ground level. To do this, I can press N, and I have the transform here. It's -1. It's a 2 by 2 cube. I'm going to put 0 here. It will be more precise. And for this one, it's at +1. I'm going to put like 0.2. And you see that I have this nice tile. What I want, in order to break a bit geometric, like computer geometric aspect, I'm going to add what we call the bevel here. To do that, I'm going to go to the edge mode, and I'm going to press A to select all the edges. It looks like it's the faces, but it's because if I select 2, 3, 4, like that, it showcases the full face. But no, we are selecting all the facing by pressing A, and I'm going to do Control B. So Control B, and now if I move the mouse, you see that I can choose my bevel angle, and if let's do something subtle, and if I mouse the wheel up, I can add some faces like that. So I just click and I have something that I like. If I go out, you see that now it works, but the shading is like a bit cubic. I'm going to go back to face mode, select everything, and in the faces option here I have shade smooth, and now when I go, you have something clean. Now we are going to repeat this multiple times. I want a 5 by 5 tiles. What I'm going to do is here in the modifiers, I'm going to choose a modifier which is called array. I can look for it here like this, and you see that it repeats twice at the moment. I'm going to say 5 times like that. There may be another way to do it, but that works. And I'm going to change the factor X to 1.1. I have this nice space. By the way, just showcasing you something before to start, you see that the UVs by default are great. That's why I'm doing it in Blender, because I have really nice clean UVs. Now let's go back here. I'm going to reactivate this so we can see it. And I'm going to, so we have on the X axis, and this we want also to make it on the Y axis. This by default you can just make one direction. If not, if I push this one, you see that it will move like this, which is not what I want. What I'm going to do is to add a second modifier, once again array, but this time I will put 0 on this axis, and I'm going to put 1.1 on this one. Oh, sorry. 1.1. Okay, it's because X, Y, and okay, this one here 1.1. Okay, now I have my shape. I could center all of this. It's not a big deal, but let's take all this. If I press G, and I do Shift Z, I will move just on the XY axis like that, and I don't have to be that precise. I can do something like this maybe. It's minus 4.5, 1.5 it seems, minus 4.5. Okay, it seems to be right. Maybe I'm not exactly in the middle, but I think it's good enough. Now, what I want to do is, this is just one object which is called cube001. First thing first, I want to apply these modifiers. So it becomes, because right now you see I have the full control, I can tweak it, but I cannot really play with the geometry. I'm going to go here and you have apply, and I'm going to apply this one. Now I can enter in, and you see I can select the faces, the etc. What I'm going to do, you see that by default it's called cube. I'm going to call it cube.001. Why? Sorry, because there is an incremental system. If I create a new object from it, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to detach its cube. Once again, there may be a better way, but that's the way that works for me. So what I'm going to do is, this will be cube001. I'm going to select all the other one by one and name it. I will accelerate the video so we don't spend like 10 minutes doing that. To do this, for the first time I show you, I select a face, I press L, which will select all the linked face here. Then I press P, and I say which is to separate, and I press P again, I press P, and now you see that I have cube002. Now I'm going to accelerate the video to do all the faces. Okay, this is done. You see that I have a bunch of cubes. This is great. Now what I'm going to do is to take this. Oh yes, to take the one in the middle. I'm just going to get out of this. Select, oops, like this, sorry. Okay, let me check. Okay. Okay, now I'm here. I have this one, and what I want to do is for this centered one to add a specific material. Let's go here, material. I'm going to add a new material, new. I'm going to call it main material. I'm going to see if it's, so far it's not applied yet. So marker set online visual. That's where I'm always lost. Okay, this should be good. So I call it main material. I creating this new material. We are going to enter this, make sure every face are selected and assign it to it. I'm going to put back neutral color like this, and that's it. Now what I want to do, you can go back here, I think. Just going to delete some object that I don't need. I don't need the camera here. I have all these cubes which are nice. I don't need the light. And I'm going to export this scene. I have this collection, everything is here. To do this, I'm going to do to File, Export. I can choose, for example, do we have GLB? Well, we can do USD as well here. And make sure I'm going to put it on my home. Let me check here. Maybe in my document, it will be easier. I'm going to call it material underscore showcase underscore tiles, like this. And here we are going to look at the option. There is one which is important to remove. So mesh, light, camera, curves, point cloud, volume. There is something that I USD, okay, USD preview surface and convert to world. You don't want that, if I'm not wrong. If not, it will try to experiment. There is some stuff that you really want to remove, especially, yeah, the preview, because it's like embed in the object, and it's at the moment we have hard time removing it. And that's it. Export USD, and let's see if it works well in Substance 3D Viewer. Now we are in Substance 3D Viewer beta, and we are going to check if the objects works well, the tiles that we have just made, and it seems so. That's good, because if I go to the appearance mode where I can check the material, if I check one of these tiles, they are independent. Yet they use the same material. If I change the base color, for example, you see that it changes everything. It reminds me that in Blender I could have made one single object instead of the dependent cubes like that, independent cubes. But this way, if I want to make like a special composition, if I want maybe to apply the material on many different tiles, I have more control. That's the way I decided to do it, but you could definitely make just one single object in that case. What else? I have here the main material, and once again I can change it. So now that I have double checked this, we are going to start making our scene within Photoshop. We are now in Photoshop beta homepage. If you have skipped the previous chapter, I'm inviting you to download the 3D models. You have the link in the description. You should have two. I think I'm going to also include this scene like the material project PSD. So if you want the final scene, it is possible. And I will also include the Blender scene. This way you have all the full material. You can have a look at it. You can do whatever you want with it. Let's create a new file here, and I'm going to go to, I think web, I have like a 1080p, this one 1090 by 1080, which is great. Once again, this is really up to you, to the format you want for your portfolio. I'm using this one, but you are completely free to choose whatever you want. I'm going to do this. I have my T-Color artboard, which is nice. You can here do really whatever you want. For example, if I want to say I want like to add a small gradient, maybe we can do that. Let me create a new layer. and go to the gradient like that, and choose like I don't know, let's see, basic one. If we want to take this one and change the color, maybe let's take something like this before, and look again. Okay, if I want to do something like this, for example, maybe I'm going to move that a bit like that, just to give like this kind of effect that once again, this is, you will get a better style than myself. That's really up to you. Satisfied with that, I don't need this one. I'm going to put a full blank color on this one like this, and I'm going to create a group and call it gradient background. And I'm going to start importing objects. I'm going to import my material showcase styles that I just did like this. And you see that I can drag and drop an object, yet this is, right now, this is a smart object which is linked to a 3D scene. I choose USD, I think it supports a dozen of formats like FBX, GLB, OBJ and some other. And we will add more, but at the moment we have that. But this is in Photoshop, this is not treated as a 3D object. This is right now, this is a smart object and it looks like an image that I can resize, for example, do stuff like that. I double click to get this at the moment. And I'm going to look also at my sphere. Let me go to the right place here. Okay, I'll go to software. It's in French once again in my case. Adobe Substance 3D Designer, resources, 3D view 3D, sorry, shapes, and I'm going to take the sphere 2 tiles because it works well. Oops, I double clicked on it. I didn't want to do that. I just want to drag and drop it here. It will appear the same way and create another smart object. I can move it this way at the moment, which is fine. My goal will be first to set up. I'm going to set up a bit the way I want it, and what I want actually here is like a frame here that would be something around 40 with a frame with like a border of 40. I can, just for the sake of clarity here, I can say let's do one here and go to 40 like that. I'm going to do another one here, 40, and let's go at the bottom and let's make one of 40. It's 1080, 1040. Like that. And here I could decide to make another one. This is, once again, this is really up to you. If you want the stage to take a decent place, let's say maybe up to here. Let's try something maybe like that. It's around 700. We are going to adjust that. Okay, 700. It means 700, you know what, I will do 740 again. The frame itself will be 700. Once again, you do the way you want. Okay. This is useful just in Photoshop right now. I hope at some point we'll be able to export the guides as well to Substance 3D Viewer, but it's not the case yet. First of all, we are going to organize a bit this object. Material showcase styles, and this one, sphere 2 sphere 2 tiles because it tiles twice and it's great to showcase material. I think we're good. I could create a frame if I want to make some effects, for example. That's what I did, even if it's not completely useful. If I need it, I will do it later on. But for now, I think we are good. And I'm going to start with the material showcase tile, which is this one. I'm just going to double click on it. And what it will do, you cannot see my bar, but it will load, well, actually it opens Substance 3D Viewer with the object, but this time the object is in 3D and we are in the composition view, which is like a canvas which replicates the Photoshop composition. But if I click on it, you see that you also see the frame, which is where the 3D object will be rendered. To manipulate it, I have a 3 mouse button, you have the control at the bottom if you want. On the 3 mouse button is right click, allow me to orbit around my object, and middle click to pan it, and my mouse wheel allow me to zoom in, zoom out. First thing first, I'm going to set up the frame to correspond to what I want. These are some stuff we can improve, because to get the size here, you see that I can see it here. What I'm going to do is here, I would see the width will be, we say 700, like that. For the position in X, we say 40. In Y, it's also 40. And here, the size will be, well, we have a 40 multiplied by 2, it will be 1000. Like that. My frame right now is good. That's what I want. What I'm going to do is just placing this in a way that interests me. What I can do here is I can first check the perspective here and change the field of view, and something like 40, 46 may be good. And now I'm going to zoom on this one. This is my tile that will showcase my material. Let's try and see how it goes. This is really the way you want. I'm going to try something like that, and let's try something. If maybe I'm going to close to make it a bit like as if it was flat. Let's do, yeah, like this. I like, because the fact that I choose a smaller field of view, it do as if I have like a flat, almost orthographic view. If I want, I can switch to orthographic like that, but that's not what I want. Orthographic, I will explain. We had some questions, some people don't necessarily know what is an orthographic view, and it's totally fine. At the moment, I can play for a long time with that. Let's say that I am satisfied with this. I'm not going to tweak yet the color. I'm going to send this to Photoshop to show you how it goes. Now in Photoshop, you see that I have my view, the frame has been changed. That's why I don't need to make any mask technically, because I have my frame which perfectly fit. You may say, okay, but technically we can make a bigger frame and change, like make a mask in Photoshop, which is right. But you have to know that this 3D rendering frame, the bigger it is, the more time / performance it will require to make the final render. I like to make it this way, so yeah, we don't use unnecessary processing time. Now let's go back and double click on the second object. Okay, now we have the sphere. This is the background, which means that it's just an image. I cannot select it right now. As you can see, I'm clicking, but for this one, you see that now I have the sphere, which is here. I can change the lighting, etc. Yet I have to tweak a bit the frame to fit properly. What I'm going to do is to make sure that the width is 1180. How do I calculate that? This is 1920 minus this, which is 740. I'm going to change the X position to 740 to make sure it fits on this part, and the height is 180. Oops, sorry. Like, oops, one. Like this. And finally, I'm going to make sure that it's start at 0 in Y. This way, why do I make it fit exactly this way? I'm sure that here I will try to make a shadow or something like that, and I want to make sure that it's not cut at the bottom or on the side. It should be good like this. Once again, I'm going to send to Photoshop just to show how it looks. Right now it's nice, and now I'm going to start to tweak. You know, for example, I may want to put it a bit higher so I can put the text just below. Actually, I can just add a text right now. It's done like this. Using, so this is Adobe Clean, which is an official Adobe one. We're going to use another one, like let's use the brush script, classic one. And let's say fantastic material, like that. Okay, why not? Huh? Maybe I'm going to make it a bit bigger, like this, and I'm going to just add a drop shadow, but a drop shadow that I will tweak. Like, I'm going to make it black, of course, like that, and change this to 135. Oops. Maybe just going to tweak it a bit and not putting, like, changing the transparency to something a bit less strong. You will have way more taste than me to choose the proper one that fits to your need. We move it a bit if we want something like that, for example. Okay, not passing too much time on that. That's not the idea. Now let's go back here. I can go back here to my material, and we are going to select this. I'm zooming out a bit with my mouse wheel. Let's put it a bit higher, like that. And now I'm going to start choosing a material. To do this, I'm going to Appearance, Material Preset. You can take whatever substance material, it will work. Let's take like a leather, for example, like this leather, see how it goes. By default, the resolution is not fantastic. Oh yes, actually it's the 248, it's okay. I think it's good. I can choose the color. There is not much. I can choose the grain intensity, but right now I want to tweak the lighting. I'm going to pass to ray tracing. Actually, I removed the cam before because I did the first test, but now I'm going to disable the camera for real, because as I told you before, the fact to activate ray tracing while recording at the same time, I could have some lags, and you may see some lags, but it's not Substance 3D Viewer, it's my OBS, which is my recording application. So no worries, it works well. If you don't hear me, it may be that I cut the sound, I don't know. But no, let's hide myself and launch ray tracing. And what I'm going to do is to tweak a bit the lighting, the lighting to make it right, and also to activate the background. Let's activate it. You see that the background the lighting is way more subtle. What I'm going to do is first trying to find a lighting that will put a neutral color in the center, like that. I think it's okay. Just going to try different material to find one that I like. Let's take this one. Once again, it will really depend on your own machine. This one, or I can try maybe a nylon. You have like some denim. You have many different materials. I have this terracotta. Okay, let's try with this terracotta. First thing first, I'm going to change the resolution here because you see that it's quite low. If you hear some sound in the background, this is my cat playing with everything on my desktop. He loves to play while I'm recording. Now I have like this nice render. I can tweak a bit the light. Okay, that could be okay. In that case, for the sake of simplicity, I kept myself with one of the 3 light presets that are here. Of course, you can import your own. There is no issue with this, but right now to import, you just go select custom lighting, etc. But for now, I'm just going to do that. And now, to give a bit more volume to the scene, I'm going to go to the lighting here, and I'm going to activate the ground plane, which will create an invisible ground, but which will be able to catch the shadow on the reflection. If I do this, and you put reflection enabled. Why there is no... Oh, okay. Reflection roughness. Oh, okay, it's here. I just have to move a bit to make it visible like that. I'm going to move it a bit this way. And once again, let's move again. You see that you do have reflection on the ground. Sorry for the cat. I can also change the roughness. If I put it to 0, well, you have like a pure mirror, but that's not what I want. But you can do something like this, which can be subtle. I'm going to hide my face because you see the lagging. Here, for example, I like it a lot because you have some of the color which are there. It gives a good result, and after a while you can also activate here the denoiser. When I do this, it will make the same work of simulating the light rays, and at the end it makes like another pass to remove all the small noises that you could have in the image. I like this one. What I'm going to do now, send to Photoshop. Like that. Now in Photoshop, you just click and it updates. I like this kind of a lot. What I could say, it's maybe too small compared to the size. I could zoom in here, but I prefer to go here and to say, okay, let's do it. We have space now, like that, for example. Okay. Waiting, and now it's good. To Photoshop. And now, yeah, I think it updated. Yeah, what I'm just going to do is to move this a bit like that. Now let's do the same with this one. I'm just going to double click on this one, and you see that in Substance 3D Viewer, you have it. You may say, oh, where's the sphere? No worries, as I explained you. When you do this, it just sends the background, not what is in the foreground. That's why you don't see it, but still, no worries, it's in the Photoshop project. And here, let's do the same. I'm going to select, I'm going to go to Appearance, select this one, apply the terracotta. We were happy. I won't touch anything here. I'm just going to go to the color and add the color to the swatch because I want to apply on this one here. Now I'm going to select this guy, and I have the translucent material. And here what I'm going to do, it will be more visible with the ray tracing, but I will apply the settings now. I'm going to do translucency like that so you don't see it. The roughness is fine, and I'm going to put like an absorption color. Oh, I lost my... Interesting, I lost it. Okay, try to pick it like this and make it for the translucent. Well, I'm going to activate once again. We lose a bit of performance. You see that by default the color is too strong. Let's play with that. Let's play with the lighting as well. I'm going to change the roughness, and more importantly, I will change this to make it way more transparent. Something like that, for example. And once again, we need the ground plane enabled, which gives way better volume. Yet I have to play a bit reflection enabled. Reflection roughness not that much, like that should be fine. Shadow opacity, I think we are not bad. Yet I have to play more with the material here. Let's click on this and change this color here. Once again, I'm doing this, but this is really up to you. You choose the way you want it to look. And here I'm going to try to make the light hit on the side here. Let me check the roughness. I can make it fully polished like that as well if I want, which gives a nice effect in my opinion. I could also put the scattering effect, but it's extremely time consuming. Not time consuming, but like performance consuming to make this video. It may not be the best. Let me go back to this. Trying to find like a reflection that makes sense, but here it's not that bad. What I'm going to look at is this, which is the index of reflection that I want closer to this, and maybe just a bit of roughness like that. Okay, so now let's wait a bit. Just checking that we have the denoiser. Oh, okay, we didn't have it. A small bug that is already fixed is that if I activate the denoiser, I have to change the parameter to make it work properly. I'm just waiting for the noise to disappear. It shouldn't take long. Okay, here you go. I can activate my face. Give me something cool, in my opinion, to Photoshop. And here we go. We have something like that, which is great. I could say as well, for example, you know what, this one I want them to be like metallic. It's almost metallic, but no, it's the transparency that makes that. I still can go back and say I don't want transparency here on this one, but I want it metallic, full metallic, and I want to mimic this color here on this one. Maybe a bit desaturated like that, and maybe I'm changing a bit the roughness so it's not as shiny. And I'm going to zoom a bit on it to really get the details on this one. That's the advantage, is that you have the full control on the lighting, composition, etc. to Photoshop. And now, and you see it was way faster because I removed the translucency. Now I have my image, and I think that's it. Of course, you can play, as I told you. The idea is you save this as a template, and if you need to change the material, you just start from the template, you double click on the object, you change the material color. For the lighting, it depends. You may have formalized the lighting. Maybe this is something that you won't change afterwards and you will just play with materials. But that this way, you can make sure that a graphic designer can come to this Photoshop template and create a new image really quickly, being in control and not dependent from anyone to make the work. Thank you for watching, and see you in another tutorial. Ciao!